They'll be absolutely afraid of failure. They're afraid of making mistakes. They're terrified. So we're going to give them tasking. They'll be afraid of doing it. They'll dare to do it. They will make mistakes and they'll run back to safety. So you need to talk to them, say it's okay. Begin to teach them that the world didn't end because they made a mistake. Do a lot of timeline therapy, and your tasking should be very small steps. You need to understand where they are and treat them from within their model of the world. Assist the client to step out of their boring routine, the sameness of life that they've done for a long time, but do not punish or humiliate them. That doesn't work. Increase the tasking, but very slowly and gradually in terms of difficulty, and expect them to be incongruent in their response, at least initially. Reward them at the beginning when they do something good. Praise is enough. You don't have to give them gifts or anything. Praise will work. If they make serious mistakes, work with them conscientiously. Do not bark orders because they won't be able to respond. Communicate to them that it's possible to make more mistakes, and that's fine. Before they'll feel sick, they will see you're teaching them during your coaching how to begin the climb out of point C towards point D. And it's a very, very gradual process. The climb from level 4, part C, is one of the most difficult transitions in all values levels. And that's because the environment is not conducive to assist the individuals in that transition. It used to be in the 80s and 90s, not so much anymore. So you've got to go slow and gentle. So when you have a level 4 coaching client, they like to be respected as the model employee. They like to do things right. They're the pillars of communities. They know and accept that you are the authority figure. So be very careful of the words that come out of your mouth because they're very suggestible. You are the authority. You're the coach. You're the trainer. You're the presenter. You are the manager or the owner of the small business. You are the thought in their mind. So be careful with your suggestions and with the words that you use. Be careful with your language because in their model of the world, it is their duty to accept the order of things and not to question, not to struggle or explore, because safety and security now comes to sacrifice and submission. So in order to coach them properly or manage them properly, they need to be coached or managed morally. If you promise something, you must keep your promise. Their duties, whether it is in tasking or whether it is in work when you're managing them, the detailed tasks must be very specifically and clearly laid down using their keywords on a daily basis. 4 needs to be micromanaged. If you fail in your duty, even if they're the same as yesterday and the same as 2 days ago and the same as 3 days ago, every single day you still have to put the data out. Every single morning you have to have the morning meeting and say the very same thing every morning. The 4 expects that. If you fail at that, in their minds, you've failed them. You haven't done your job right. The work will go poorly. It's almost like an unconscious sabotage of the work effort because you haven't done your job. You should have come and had the meeting with me this morning. You should have told me step by step, specifically as a coach, what tasks I need to do, and I will do it. Don't expect me to think it's your duty to tell me. That's what a 4 would say. Because in their mind, you're not fulfilling your job or providing order and regulation because you haven't done your job and things are out of order. Then it becomes the 4's duty because you're not good enough. You haven't done your job, and the 4 will make attempts to recruit others together. Well, it's not only me. Look, so-and-so also think the same thing. No, because God forbid, I can't take responsibility for myself, but all of us here, sign the letter and we need to punish you for not doing your job. And then I, the values level 4 thinker, will be vindicated because, see, I was right. So that's how they operate, whether you like it or not. And it's not a matter of like or dislike or right or wrong. It's just how the neurology of the 4 exists. So they can create organizational chaos in a business until the evil person or situation or event is uprooted and it's completed. A solid 4 without any 5 open will never be in a training like this. They see training seminars and job enrichment programs as a complete waste of time, and more importantly, as personally threatening. You learned everything you need to learn when you're young. Just do your job. That's it. You learn when you're 18, 19, or 20, or maybe you went to college, or maybe you didn't. Doesn't matter. You're done. Nobody learns later in life. So if fours are forced to take a training because the managers or their authority tells them that they must, then they may conclude that since I'm forced to do this, that the entire system is evil and the entire system is no good. Understand that a 4 or a typical 4 is a closed personality and they don't handle stress. They handle it poorly. They'll create the physiological manifestations, be permanently sick. They're not faking, and they'll be in pain with depression. So important things for the coach or the manager is with your sensory acuity, with your language capabilities, is to be able to respond positively or negatively to what they're doing. If you see a negative response in your interaction with them and what you've done, you need to backtrack as quickly as possible. Don't be pushy. They cannot overcome the stress, and it means you're pushing too far. So backtrack and see where you're mismanaging them or miscoaching them. You're the authority, so they cannot question authority. It's a sin. So the authority must be perfect. Now, from 5, we know what's perfection, but in 4 is this quest for this elusive perfection, which means everything has to fit into our model, done to the deed, according to the rules. Otherwise, something's wrong. If you mismanage them or miscoach them by failing to provide a firm direction or a series of steps or instructions, you can create problems. So as we move to 5 creates their own system inside their own businesses. Fanatics are a 4-3. Corruption is rampant in values level 4. Do you think the governments of all countries are corrupt? You just have to look at the scandals that have been in the media. They're all corrupt up to their eyeballs. Why is there corruption? Well, first of all, because I'm going to do everything the right thing, but on the side, I'm going to negotiate on the side. My nephew wants this job and I'll give him the job just because he's my nephew. It's who you know in 4, promoting your own people. The governments as an institution in 4, however, the institution is made out of individuals. The values level 5 rears its head inside many bureaucrats in government. Many of our politicians or corporations or stakeholders in corporations want to sell you the product of their own corporation. So it's an example of 5, and then they want to make it law that everybody has to buy the product, which has nothing to do with your safety or for your own good. It has to do with financial interest. So that's the example of the corruption. 4-3 will say, buy this or I'll punish you. 4-5, they'll mostly try to bribe me. They'll try to convince you and mind manipulate you that it's for your own good. Now, do you remember when Coca-Cola had the campaign that their soft drink, diet or otherwise, was healthy food? I mean, people may like drinking it, but putting it in the category of healthy food? Healthy for what? Cleaning the toilet. It is actually a really good toilet cleaner. I have tried it. I read it somewhere and I ended up buying a big bottle of the Diet Coca-Cola and put it in the toilet. You know what? Don't have to buy a cleaner. It worked beautifully. Just cleaned everything. Now, I thought it was a joke when I read it. Nope, works. So it's a major transition from 4 to 5 and can create a lot of stress. So imagine this. You're a beautiful employee and you've been employed all your life. You've had your paycheck, weekly, fortnightly, monthly, however you've been paid. And whether you're sick, whether you're on workers' compensation, whether you're on annual leave, the paycheck was there. It was never too much unless you're doing a great job or you're in a corporation or something. But for most people, it's just sufficient for you to manage to pay all your debts and put a tiny bit aside. Now, all of a sudden, your values level 5 develops inside of you, which makes you crave freedom and independence. You want to be on your own. You don't want to work for a stupid boss. You don't want to work for an organization or corporation or company. You don't want to work for anyone. You want to be on your own. Now, usually people make a mistake. They design their own job. If you want to develop your own business, do not design your job until you start building your own business, because now you're facing things that you've never considered before. Public relations, marketing, and 4 hates sales. 5's based on sales. Not like 3 with a gun to your head, buy or die, not that way, but 5 is making a business based on sales. It's not based on accounting. And you need to learn all of this. You've never had any idea about it because you've never had to face that. And now the situation could become dire. So many people say, I'm going to open up my own business so I can work when I want. Oh boy. I mean, if any of you have small business or you're a small business owner, you'll know that you're married to your business. It never stops, right? 24/7. There's no weekend, no happy hour. There's no sleeping through the night when you wake up in the night and your brain's working overtime. There's no 9 to 5, no weekend. Friday at 5 and I'll have the weekend to myself. Not when you're a small business owner. So when you own your own business, your business gets to be stuck to your hip. They're with you all the time. And there's a lot more work in 5 than there is at 4. But there's a lot more freedom to do what you want, to do what you love, and not to be told what to do all the time or what to think. So when that happens inside the 4, then they have this conflict because there's a need for freedom, for being their own individual, for not being part of the mass of people in the collective. And at the same time, the strategies, the decisions, the beliefs, the learnings, the skills are not quite there yet. So this conflicting situation, when the person is halfway there, halfway here, they have to move because their free energy pushes them forward. But at the same time, they go back to safety, the safety of 4. And if a client asks me, even brand new trainers might ask me, what should I do? My advice is always do not quit your job under any circumstances. And that's what I'm telling you guys too. Don't quit your job until you learn to develop the skills in neurology and you bring enough money in your private business. Otherwise, you'll run into trouble. So even though you might have your same beautiful ideas, you've got to develop the neurology to really step into 5. And unfortunately, people think that if they just create a nice website and the business people will just come to my business because it's there, the website's there. It just doesn't work that way. There's a lot of learning that needs to be done. So just be mindful. Now, at least if you understand that if you work with a client like this, there is no way around learning those skills and many more that we're going to discuss when we talk all about 5. It's a completely different world compared to 4. So if you've never had a job working diligently for an employer, and diligently meaning we intentionally all the time do the right thing, if you've never saved money for the future, if you've never been righteously enforcing law and order, or if you've never been religious, whatever religion, or you've never worked hard just to do the right thing, no other reason than just to do the right thing. Now, if you've never fulfilled your duties or responsibilities to the team, by your family, by your work colleagues, by your boss, you're still not completed with 4. There's still an energy block on that values level, and there's still remnants that need to be finalized. Now, I know there's a lot in 4. Many of your coaching clients will present with you with a solid dose of 4, 3 and 4, whether they are doing entry 4 or exit 4 into 5. There is a solid dose of 4 in our societies, and that's why we spend the time on it. All right. Are you finding this useful, being able to recognize things that people around you are doing, maybe even some of your own traits? Because once you understand and you see these things, and there's something you can do about it,